Hey there, how are you?
Oh my God, one of my favorites. Thank you so much for joining me today.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me. Do you have the whole me? I don't know where we're at. Are we good?
Yeah, you're good. You see my
Okay.
Mayans thing back here? As long as that's there, you
I
don't
got
even
the
need to see.
Mayans thing, SoCal, baby, representing.
Oh my God, how do I get one of those?
You got to know somebody.
I know a lot of somebodies,
You, yeah, you know what? You know a lot of people. You probably know more people than I do, to be
I
honest.
doubt it. You know all the right ones. And speaking of those people, I was talking with Elgin James, the boss man. I believe it was last week, and he could not speak any more highly of you and how much he admired your work before you came onto Mayan. So how do you feel about that? I mean, the boss man, he's like one of your biggest fans.
Yeah, I, it's really great to have that support. I grew up playing a lot of sports, and when the coach and the when the coach is behind you, it really changes the game. You want to play harder, you want to go harder, you want to just go all the way till the whistle blows. And with Elgin giving us that freedom, and really giving me some of his demons, to go and deal with, and to go and I mean, being the creator, some of that stuff that Bishop is going through, I imagine it parallels somewhat to what Elgin is going through. And to be given that as an artist, somebody's little story is so precious. And the fact that I've met his expectations make me super proud and super humble and super grateful. It's awesome.
Yeah, he couldn't say enough about that. And I have to also compliment how, man, this season he has elevated like everybody, every character, and I could see that he's challenging you guys to like get to the next level. I see this longer beard. How does this
Yeah.
longer beard play into season 3, Bishop?
I think the longer beard, obviously, we were in a little thing called the pandemic.
Pandemic beard.
Yeah, and it was really I kept shaving it thinking, maybe even trying to manifest that I was going to go back to work next week. And that I was just, so I kept keeping it. And then the first lockdown and then the second lockdown, I said, ah. And it was kind of like this little expression, an outward expression, I guess, of what was happening inside. And, when I went to work for the first fitting, I saw Elgin and I saw a couple of the people, and they were like, bro. I was just like, and where Bishop is at this year, I thought it worked. I thought it worked with the timeline. I thought it worked with, with that new king, with the new crown. And, so here we are now. And I think I've retired the mustache, I got to say. I probably retired the stash, because this is Bishop. I just feel like, I don't know. I think it feels great. It looks great. And I kind of forget about it, as you do with facial hair. But yeah, I forget that this is how I look.
I see a lot of the comments with everybody saying how much they love it. And it's good to change things up too.
It's great to change things up. I mean, sometimes as an actor, you don't really get these opportunities. And with everything that went on in the last year and having to shut down, and how everybody was kind of growing and expressing or trying to figure out, like, what was the reason of being here, and having the minds to look forward to, and being able to go back to work through all this was so, I don't know. It was just such a beautiful way to be able to get back into it. And yeah, this is, to be able to change and just be able to adapt. And we're not glued to anything. We're only glued to the heart of it. But the other stuff is just, they're just things, right? Like, we can change throughout our life. I never look the same. You could go through my IMDb, not one picture is the same, right? So yeah.
Hey, I've seen you in a tuxedo at the Emmys. I feel like that's the last time we saw each other in person. I'm like, I want to see that look with the beard. So
and you know what? I think we're getting close. It's great. There's with our show, the people in the community, they want to come, they want to shoot pictures of you. And I don't really do all that kind of stuff. But, when friends say, hey, brother, I'd love to shoot you. And yeah, now that I got this look, I don't really have a lot of pictures of me looking like this. I hope that I have to look like this for the next few years. And, yeah, we might as well capture the moment, right?
For sure. I can grab you some from the FX press site.
Hey,
There's
there
a
you
lot
go.
of pictures there.
There
Shout
you
out to Jana Lee Ortiz. I see she's in the audience listening. We need to see our girl from Station 19.
Come on now. Oh yeah,
Rocking
so
top at Santo
I didn't.
Padre.
Yeah, I've worked with her. I've worked with her before. Yeah.
She's the best. Okay.
Totally.
One of the words you said a little while ago kind of caught my attention. I think you used the word king. And we've been talking a lot about one king. What can you tell me about that?
We have been talking a lot about one king, you know. I don't know if there's room at the table for three kings, right? Like, I think there's room at the table for three kings of their own individual country. But you can't have three kings of one country. And, you know, this is Santo Padre. This is the Mayans. I know what Alvarez did. I think he thought it was maybe going to help me. But I think it might have helped me grow my wings and help me see what I don't want and what I don't like. And, you know, while we have the pipeline and while it's kind of solely ours and while these people are kind of dependent on me, I think maybe I like the power. And it's something I'm going to fight for and something, and Easy and I have kind of derived this plan, and it's all kind of manifesting very organically throughout the last 3 episodes. And we see that is probably a Bishop. That's a journey that we're going to see Bishop go down this season, is try to just make it one king.
Okay. I want to talk about this moment when Marcus Alvarez was outside with the boss man, with Galindo, and he witnessed the savage murder of his friend Paco.
Yeah.
And there was this moment where I saw, I just felt like Marcus Alvarez was like, this is gone too far. Yeah. What if he wants to come back to the Mayans? I mean, he's El Padrino.
He is El Padrino. You know, I can't really speak on that. That
means that's a good question.
That is a good question. I mean, you know, I would only be speaking about what I believe that I think would happen, not actually what is on the page. And that is what I honor, and that is really what I'm sworn to, is what is on the page. But yeah, you know, just in that scene and through what Alvarez is going through this season, I think that there might be a little regret for leaving the cut at the table. I don't know if he thinks this is what he signed up for. You know, I thought it was cool when Bishop came and saw him, you know, out at his house last week or yesterday. And, you know, this is where the gangsters go to die out here in the suburbs. And there's some truth with that, you know. Yeah, you know, there's some truth with that. Sometimes I think you just need and want to get away from all of that darkness. And he's seeing a whole nother side of it, right? Because he's not even really fighting for himself over there. He's fighting for Galindo. At least with the Mayans, that fight is true. You know what that is. So even if it gets dark, you're willing to, you know, you're willing to kind of do those things to do what you need to get done, right?
Yeah, but I don't think so. Galindo is obviously very unfocused, and so I don't think that what he's doing right now, like trying to figure out, or, you know, or take care of those people who were, you know, who he blames for his mother's demise, which right. He doesn't even know what really happened. Right. He's not really like, what is Marcus Alvarez really fighting for? Because what he's doing is something else. This isn't business.
Agreed. I mean, you know, men want to fight for something that they believe in, right? That is kind of at the core of the show, the core of this series. You know, we see us all fighting for something right now throughout this whole journey. And you want to fight for something that you actually believe in. And I don't know if he really believes in his boss right now, even though it might be great financially. It might be great, you know, to get out of the line of fire. Obviously, we got a lot of going on over in our own MC. So, you know, that might be, but yeah, I don't know if he's, I don't know if he's so keen to it anymore. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very, very curious to see the journey that Marcus is on this year.
Well, but of course, like, it's very parallel to what's going on with Bishop, because they're family at the end of the day.
Yeah, we're family, you know, but I think with all family, sometimes you have to, there's an old saying where you have to kill your father right? In order to be a man, right? Um, the idea of there is something pressing over you or an expectation of you. So Marcus already went through that journey, and I see right now, I think we're seeing Bishop kind of go through that journey of, I mean, he's only been at the table. He's only been the head at the table now for, you know, what, maybe I guess 8 months. And this is what we've created.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, who knows where we're going to go from here? Yeah, who knows? Well,
Sister,
I know.
you know,
But...
you know, I know a little, but
yeah.
not, I only know up until 5. But
Sure.
Sister Mom Joan wants to know, does Bishop realize what's happening with Coco?
You know, I think my smeller's out. But obviously, like, when you're delegating and when you're the king of the castle, he's going to kind of have to take care of himself. If he can't take care of himself and it really does become under Bishop's radar, then Bishop's going to have to take care of that. You know, with the IV use and that road he's going down, that doesn't really swing well in the MC community. And if Bishop finds out about that, then yeah, I don't think Bishop knows. I don't think he can know as far as the story goes. I mean, he might be seeing that Coco is a little less available, a little less present, but I don't really think, I mean, obviously Bishop's got a lot on his plate right now. I don't know if Coco is a priority. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about one of those things. There's a big secret. We're seeing some of his ex-wives. Oh my God. I'm like, wait a minute. I've watched a few too many episodes. So I'm like, oh my God, I hope I don't spill anything. I hope we've seen that far with 03. But what can you talk to me about The Secret?
It's a great book.
You were ready for that one. You were ready.
You know, The Secret. You know, Bishop has a lot of secrets, actually. There is one underlying secret, I think, but I think some people that are in the MC, those that have been with me through a long period of time, actually know what that is. So is it really a secret? No. But yeah, you know, Bishop's got a few demons and a few skeletons in the closet. And, you know, Pena is a source of, yeah, you know, we used to have a connection, right? Like, we used to be connected spiritually, and we used to be connected before Bishop had this weight on his shoulders, and before Bishop was in the MC, right? Like, there was a thing where people were rooting for us, you know, and now that I'm way over here and she's way on that end of the world, just to watch these two kind of try to reconnect as where Bishop feels like he's losing all these things around him. Just to go back to something familiar and something before this reality, like you know, it's like what we do as humans. And I think it's great writing on Eldrin's part to send him back there for a little solace and a little comfort, or just shoulder to cry on or an ear, you know.
Well, all of this is already enough. We have these border closures that are putting the squeeze on literally everybody. Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about the border closures? How much squeeze are we going to be getting? Because obviously it's going to be, this is a game of survival.
Yeah, it is. It is. You know, with the border closure, I think the price just goes up because it's harder to get here. So it could be quite beneficial. It's like, you know, when the world is falling apart, you jump into the stock market, right? So
GameStop, no? GameStop?
Hey, GameStop, that's what I heard. That's what I heard. But, you know, I think sometimes too with this border closure, which I think was beautiful, how this is the way that we chose to kind of deal with this pandemic or whatever, right? Like, I love the fact that we're not wearing masks and we're doing our thing, and we're just really like this, you know, this little world that is just trying to kind of push through and survive. And when you're trying to survive, these things become just obstacles, I guess, or just things that kind of get in the way. So the mountain's a little bit steeper and the borders closed, and we might see it kind of start to kind of filter out amongst some of the more peripheral characters. I mean, which was so beautiful. The woman who got popped at the border, the mule who was bringing the drug over. What a great scene. She did that beautifully, and it was kind of hard to watch, knowing that her life was getting ready to go down that path, trying to help her family and survive. And I think we're all going to see the repercussions of the border closing, especially since we're right on the border. I mean, I think being in California, we don't really know what that means. But being down in Santo Padre and Santa Madre, it's like that's got to be a whole different vibe down there, and I think we're doing it well.
Okay, because you're doing a lot of risky stuff out there. You're
How do
having
you
to get
mean?
creative. Not
You gotta
you,
get
but the
creative.
MC is having to get creative.
Yes.
And I love how Easy is falling into his own within the hierarchy and kind of contributing in a significant way.
Oh, absolutely. I think really that's probably why Bishop has been so keen on Easy. He knows he's kind of a winner, and sometimes you can't teach what it is to be a winner and how hard you're going to fight, no matter how hard you get knocked down. And I think Bishop kind of operates from that space as well. And now that he's becoming a little bit more, gray in the beard, being the king, you kind of tend to delegate a little bit more, and you let the people in your cabinet and the people close to you help you. Actually, you don't always have to knock them down in order to get what you need or want. So I think I'm using his brain. I'm using that foresight of a brain to kind of think about that aspect of the MC, while I'm also dealing with my own personal life and some of the other stuff that's happening in the MC.
You think there's ever going to be a moment where Bishop is too distracted and it kind of pulls him away from being the club leader?
I think possibly like within a moment, as we have those moments, right? I think that's going to be honest and truth, and we'll have to see. We'll have to see the cause and effect of what happens when I take my eye off of the prize. I think very much in seasons 1 and 2, you kind of saw Bishop like not really sure what was going on, having to answer to Galindo and to Alvarez, and having his boys dealing with Potter and all this stuff going behind his back. I think this is kind of this.
Sorry, that's me.
Is that you? Me?
Potter,
Okay.
You said Potter. You found me.
Oh my God, he's on us. He's on us. He's on to us, that bastard.
He found us.
Oh my God, what a great actor. And
Oh my God, I hate him so much, and that's because he does it so well, right?
We all hate him. We all hate him. I mean, he's got to go ahead and dust his shoulders off, right? We all hate him. That means job well done. But yeah, I think Bishop is probably going to be riding that roller coaster of what is personal, right? We see him drinking a little bit more this year. That's probably going to become a problem. And it's kind of how he has been trying to kind of navigate this space for him. And, Alvarez mentioned he knew what week it was. And I think we're going to find out what's happening there in the episodes to come, what Alvarez was kind of referring to. But yeah, Bishop's kind of on his own right now. He's kind of sad. He's a little bit distracted. But I think being able to do both is that's what makes him who he is.
But I feel like that's really like part of the theme this season, where everybody's kind of isolated and dealing with their shit. Like, it's like, yes, all these other things are happening, but there are like some imperative things that need to be dealt with personally. And I really love that we were able to learn more about their personal lives. Is that something that you are enjoying, being able to see more of like who he is as a person?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. As an actor, it's great to kind of push the story as far as kind of the plot and what is going on. But once you get to go into the backstory of who the character is, that's where you do like the big work. And it's not always fun. And you're going to places that you kind of thought were things that you'd already dealt with. And all of a sudden they're right there because it's been on the page. And then you just have to give it the justice and the weight that it deserves. And even if you're afraid of those emotions, or you want to deny that those emotions even exist, that's why we do what we do, right? If we I mean, at least every actor I know are all a little bit destroyed and broken, and we come here to try to work it out. When you get the opportunity to do that, especially with Bishop, it has just been, it's just been amazing.
I see that a lot of people are commenting that apparently Clayton let some kind of big spoiler out of the bag. I don't know what it is, so I'm not going to repeat it. But a lot of people are like, yeah, Clayton already let that out of the bag. I don't know if it's about the secret, but a lot of people, I don't know what he said, but.
You know, I don't know. I don't follow any of those guys on social media. No. Yeah. I don't know what he said, so
It's okay. We could ignore that, but I think everybody just wants to know that we're eventually going to find out about what that week means to Bishop.
Yeah, you know, I have no idea what he said.
Yeah. I'm not going to repeat what that says because
was it a spoiler?
I've seen different things, and I'm not going to repeat it because I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. Let's switch gears and talk about Taza.
Let's switch gears and talk about Taza.
That's a great conversation. Let's talk about Taza. He's got to pay for what he did to Riz. And we got to find out what that secret is that was so big that El Palo has on him that led him to kill his brother.
Yeah. We all need to know. You know, I think on the spiritual side of things, he is paying for what he did to Riz, right? I think sometimes I could make him pay, the club could make him pay, the courts could make him pay. I don't really deal with all those. I kind of believe in something that's a bit bigger. And I think he is on that journey. I mean, we're even watching that actor, Raul. He's so beautiful. And we're watching, I mean, we're seeing him. Like you know, we're literally watching him go through it right now. And I think he is paying for it. And I think throughout the season, I think we're going to see that this is something that we all come to find out. And that's a big secret. I don't know if you want to go around telling anybody about how you took out your brother because of something that happened, you know, 20 years ago or yesterday. So I think you might have to take that to the grave.
Well, but that's Palo's secret.
Which is Palo's secret?
Wait, I'm so scared to talk.
No, it's okay. No. See, Raul, for some reason, there's something that is going on that this is, I mean, we're all wondering how and why he killed Riz. Like, everybody needs to know that. And that is how it's manifesting right now. We're going to know. They're going to know as soon as he decides to tell someone. Otherwise, I'd have to take it to the grave.
But I worry that if it gets found out that he did that, isn't it? I was talking to Rocco the other day, and he said it would be a life for a life.
Yes, I think it would be a life for a life. Unless there was a reason, right? Like, I think sometimes things in the MC, I can't speak on MCs. I know there's a whole bylaws, and I know there's rules. You know, I think we're already breaking some of the rules, to be honest with you. It is a fictional TV show. But yeah, I guess it would be brother for brother, you know, unless you give me a reason, unless you tell me how and why this had to happen. And then we table it, and we all take it to the table, and we decide if Taz is out, or if he's like out, or if, you know, I think that'll be a conversation that happens in seasons or episodes to come.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot from some of the guys who, you know, have been part of this type of world themselves. So yeah, Rocco was explaining, like, because we were talking about Coco, and it's, I guess, one of the bigger rules is like drugs are a no-go.
Yeah, the IV use is like, right?
It's specific IV use, because he was just saying like drug use is not supported.
Specific IV use. We're an MC, right? We're gonna get down. It's our trade. It's. I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I imagine we all get down a little bit, but it's specifically the IV use and messing around with a brother's old lady, as they say. That would, right.
A lot of people want to talk about the Sam Crow of it all. I'm obviously a big Sam Crow fan, and we've seen Montez is in the house at the end of season 2 finale. We know that there was a Sam Crow brother that got killed. So let's talk about Sam Crow in the Mayan space this season.
Well, I think there's probably a little healthy detachment after everything that went down at the end of last season, and then us walking up on the body. I don't think anybody really wanted to know the answer to that, right? So we just had to kind of, and I think as the MC would have done, we would just kind of healthily detach ourselves from that situation. And now we find out that Packers got cancer, and I believe that's going to bring down Charming down. That's where Happy's now. He's sitting Prez over down here in San Bernardino. So yeah, the worlds are going to cross just by pure proximity, right? Because now these guys have to kind of deal with each other a little bit more. But as far as the SOA world and the Mayans, like, again, I don't know if that takes priority. I really think that is taking a back burner as far as the Mayan world and what it is that we're after and what it is that we are. I'm talking about the characters and the Mayans themselves. The gun trade is not something that we're even interested in, right? Like we squashed that. We're on to bigger and better, and that could maybe pan out somewhere politically or somewhere in a reason that we don't want to be connected to the gun trades, or because it was connected to Jackson, we're trying to do our own thing. And we have to remember, we are 400 miles down the way here, right? Where we have our own going down and our own problems. And I don't know if SOA is on the forefront of who we need to deal with right now.
Well, you can't blame us, fans of the original.
Hey, I get it. I get it.
But for everyone who loves seeing the Sam Crow on Mayans MC, we are gonna. My guest next week is gonna be Jacob Vargas.
Oh, fantastic!
So we can chat a little bit about the Sam Crow of it all, and about that dead body in the desert. Let me see. I'm trying to get a couple of questions in. I know that we've gone over time. Are you cool to hang a little bit more?
Yeah. All good.
Chucky. Everyone wants to know about Chucky.
Chucky.
Where's Chucky? Is he on vacation?
Chucky's on vacation. I don't know where Chucky's at. He might be getting some new hands. I'm not sure where Chucky's at right now. I think it comes up in episode, one of the episodes after the one that you saw last night. I think we're going to find out a little bit more what happens to Chucky. Okay. Maybe we lost him in a poker bet. I don't know.
He's so beloved. We love him so much. He's probably putting flour on Gemma Sanders' grave.
We won him in a card game, and my only conclusion is that we may have lost him in a card game.
Oh, no. Everyone's saying the unit. They want to see the unit. They want to talk about the unit. So
go ahead. We can talk about the unit for 2 seconds. That was actually, the unit was very much like the Mayans for me. For some reason, I don't know, again, with my sports background, I really enjoy being on teams, and the unit was a team, and we were a team of special force operators and Delta, and it really changed my career. It changed my perspective on the whole machine of it all. And that was a beautiful, beautiful job. I talk to my brothers from that show all the time. We're all dear friends still. And the Mayans is the second job that I've ever had where I'm on another team, and I'm also the team captain. And I got to tell you, that feels really great to grow in a career and to still have that kind of through line going on. And it just, I don't know, it just makes me always kind of confident in the fact that I'm kind of a man's man. And I like to start fires, and I still like to hug people, and I'm terrible with the technology, and I just like being part of that, that we're fighting for something, but we're fighting for it together. I kind of like that for some reason.
Okay. So last question. A lot of people are asking about the new prospect.
Oh, the new prospect. You're talking about Momo
Rodriguez.
You're talking about Momo. Hey, he's stepping up. Right? Like, and I think as we saw that with JD, we saw that with Easy, right? Like, once you get thrown in there, it's really going to dictate who you want to be and how much you want to be a part of this culture and this crew and this club. Like, and if you want to be somewhere, you will make it happen. I mean, just from his the actor Momo's story, from his funky, crazy, hilarious audition tape to manifesting and creating a role on the Mayans is just so impressive, and I'm so ready to watch him grow through the season. And he's on this beautiful journey, and yeah, he's stepping up, right? He saved me 60 seconds the other night. I mean, sure, everyone, what, Steve? You know, but yeah, you know, I don't know if anyone really expected him to kind of, you know, when you got to dig deep and you got to find that fight in you. He found it, and he went and got us 60 seconds, and we made it out of there. And I'm gonna buy my man a shot when we get back to the clubhouse.
All these comments are WTF Steve, WTF Steve. So.
One of the greatest lines of the season is "What the fuck, Steve?" And I mean, he takes it so well, and the boys are giving it so well. I don't think I say that at all, but they're playing it so well, and he is just really bringing the fire. I love that guy.
One of my other favorite lines. I'm scared that it hasn't been said yet, but it's not like a spoiler. But somebody says, "Who the F is Jax Teller?" And I rolled on the floor laughing like, this is like amazing.
Yeah.
For us fans.
Yeah, no, I'm sure just the name, you know, whenever we mention his name, you know, look at that. There he is in the flesh. Well, kind of.
In the Funko flesh.
But yeah, no, that was hilarious, actually. You know, we weren't laying down any swords or anything, but because, you know, in this time frame, you know, these guys wouldn't know who this guy is and who this legend is from SOA. And again, we're from a whole different section of California. And it was, it was last night. It was Vinny. And, you know, it was Gilly. They said, "Who's Jax Teller?" He says, "Who cares?" You know, like, because that's what happens, right? Like, you can ask kids now who the famous guy that knocked out all those home runs, when for me, it was Sammy Sosa. And they'll say, Who are you talking about? I don't even know who you're talking about. So, you know, things move. And in this TV world, they live on a little longer. So it's cool that the SOA fans are here and they're watching and they're hanging on these little Easter eggs, and they see the crows roll up. I mean, hey, that's cool. Like, we couldn't be where we're at and do what we're doing without that. So, you know, I pay respects to that. And I just hope everybody can kind of come with us. And,
of course.
You know, that's all we ever want to do, is just kind of build our own and, you know, not ride on anybody's tail. So
no, not at all. That's why I really love, like, just when they're like little Easter eggs, little things here and there where it's just a little nod to us. Yeah, but
fully.
Okay. Our time is up with Michael Irby. He actually did extra time today. So thank you, everybody who joined us. Check out EW.com for all my postmortems and all my goodies on Mayans MC. We have to say 10 p.m. Tuesday nights on FX is new episodes. And somebody asked earlier, it's 10 episodes this season. And 24 hours after it airs, it'll be on FX on Hulu to watch. Okay, next week I told you we have Jacob joining us, and every week we'll have somebody new to talk to. Michael Irby, thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Very cool. Thanks, guys. Bye.